Coming up on FTC Recap, MTI is just around the corner. We're going to talk top picks, dark horse teams, release the schedule, talk about some of the scheduling matchups, which ones we're really looking forward to. All here coming up on FTC Recap. Your destination for first content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by Stryker Careers. If you are a college student or recent graduate looking for an incredible internship, take a look at Stryker. Stryker provides a housing stipend, great pay, and an opportunity to work with state-of-the-art medical technology equipment. Discover why so many First alumni are coming to Stryker for their internship or career at careers.stryker.com. First Updates Now is supported by the Milwaukee School of Engineering. MSOE offers week-long summer camps where high school students get to preview college by living on campus, exploring engineering programs, experimenting in labs, meeting with professors, and participating in fun group activities. Are you ready to experience STEM at MSOE? Visit msoe.edu/summer to learn more and register. Welcome to FTC Recap, where we provide the latest breakdowns for FTC events, including the special MTI preview. For First Updates Now, I'm Tyler Olds.
I'm Abhas.
And I'm Sahil Talwalkar.
And as mentioned on this episode, we're going to have our MTI preview. Of course, MTI is the premier FTC event. I call it the All-Star event. It's got some of the most fantastic teams coming in all around the world. We got, teams from Romania, Israel, Australia coming in. Am I missing any countries? Well, U.S.
Yeah, no, but that's pretty crazy that we have a team from Australia this year. Super impressive.
I love it. So it's going to be so cool. Of course, you can watch it live this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at twitch.tv/First Updates. Now, let's go over what we're going to cover today. I know many of you are going to want to get to the reveal of the schedule. We will get to that. We got a little bit of build up for it that we want to talk about because there's a lot of cool stuff with MTI that we want to talk about a bit more. We're going to be talking about some of our predictions and what teams are on Abbas and Sahil's radar for locks and dark horses that are coming into it. Of course, locks are teams that they think are going to be an alliance captain or a number one pick. Dark horses, maybe some teams you didn't think about as much as you would some of the other ones. We'll then bring up Matt's schedule, talk about some key matchups, and we'll give some final predictions as well, too, for MTI and see who's going to win it. So let's jump right in. We're going to have a slide deck up on the side here, too, talking a little bit more. But, Abbas, let's go into your top picks for this event. Let us know who you think some of the top teams for MTI are, and Sahil and Abbas are going to kind of alternate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to start with top teams. I think my first top pick won't be too much of a surprise to people, but I just cannot wait to see what 71-72 technical difficulties has in store for everyone at MTI this year. They ended Worlds with the number one OPR, even though they weren't the winning alliance captain. They just performed exceptionally well in qualifications. And I think one of the biggest things that makes MTI different from the World Championship is how much defense there is in playoffs. Like, we did see quite a bit at the World Championship this year, but being at MTI last year, playing in qualification or in playoffs and quals, I just remember how much defense it was, how effective it was, how key it was to winning these matches. And I'm sure technical difficulties will have their robot tuned in order to be resistant against this, or maybe even play it. We saw their butterfly drive coming into Worlds. We saw it perform at Worlds. It seemed to be really good. I'm sure they've only just made improvements to everything so far. And I can't wait to see what they do on the shared hub, alliance hub, autonomous, everything. Sahil, any thoughts?
Yeah. Technical difficulty is like a really fast robot, and it'll be interesting to see if they can actually cycle more in autonomous, because we saw them get close to around 8, 9, and I'm wondering if they can hit that 10 or even higher for the MTI, because I know there's a lot of time to tune in and make the robots even better.
Yeah.
For my number one pick, I feel like it's only fitting that we choose the winning alliance captain from the World Championship this year. 17713 Delta Force from Romania was just flawless at Worlds, and I'm sure they'll bring the same energy to MTI. Having competed last year, as well as I know they won't be strangers to any defensive play, so they should have a fair, decent advantage against pretty much all aspects that MTI has to bring. With their top-notch driving and their fine-tuned robot, it will be interesting to see how well they perform at MTI.
Yeah, I think one thing about 17713 Delta Force that I noticed is as far as autonomous, they just have to drive a lot more than other robots, right? And like what this means is like at the end of the day, it's I think it's more difficult for them to score as many freight in autonomous. And given like all this time to tune, I'm sure they'll be making improvements here and there to autonomous. But with the same robot, I feel like they're very, very close to like that cap of how many freight they can score in the autonomous period. Whereas other teams with like extensions and things like that, systems they can speed up, it would be more reasonable for them to get like a one or two more freight in
Yeah,
autonomous. But
yeah,
doesn't
that's
force
true.
always
Like,
super good, super surprising. We'll just have to see how it ends up. Yeah.
yep.
And for my second pick as a top team going into MTI, I'm going to talk about someone who did not make the World Championship this year. And that is Team 16439 Alphago from Ashburn, Virginia. If I remember correctly, they lost at the Chesapeake Championship just due to some unfortunate errors. It wasn't that their robot just didn't perform as consistently as they wanted it to. But, given the past couple of months, I think they should have the time to fix that. This robot just reminds me a lot of Delta Force, like with super fast driving, but just shorter cycles and like shorter distances because of their suspension and just how effortless it is. I think also, I know their intake, they have a lot of automations going into that to make sure like they just get one freight and they leave immediately. They're not wasting any time in the warehouse, cutting down their cycle time as much as possible. And, I think it's really going to pay off for them at MTI.
And chat, let us know in the Twitch chat which teams you think are locks for this event. Maybe any that we missed as well too. And of course, one thing I want to mention is the match predictor. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but give a little bit tease of where the match predictor based on OPR is placing some of these teams. You saw that AlphaGo is one of the teams that is looking to go 8-0, as well as technical difficulties as well too, Sahil.
Yep. All right, on to my second pick. This is a team with the powerhouse at NordCal and at Worlds, but didn't rank as high as they hoped to due to some unfortunate errors with the robot. But I think they have some time to fix everything before MTI. I'm talking about other than 6165 MSET Cuttlefish from Saratoga, California. This team just seems to be built for the type of matches that we'll see at MTI. Super robust, big, and heavy, and so they can bullet any robot that comes across them during their very consistent driving and autonomous program periods.
Yeah, we know they changed the robot a little bit from their MTI submission video that they showed here for the World Championship, but it was a lot of the similar design, just better to deal with other robots in the field. One thing that I've always been super impressed by with this robot is like how effortless they play shared. It seems like such a big robot just shouldn't be able to score on the shared hub. But I remember watching them. I don't remember if it was at NorCal or at Worlds, but they had to score on the shared hub one match instead of the Alliance hub, and they switched like just like that. Like you couldn't tell that they usually played Alliance. So I think that's just like a mark of their super super good driving, just hour after hour after hour of driver practice, and it definitely pays off.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments was when in NorCal when they had their regionals and they're having to like play a lot of defense and they're just like easily able to drive over any part of the barrier, even if it was like
Yeah.
sideways or like vertical or horizontal, they could just go over it without any problem.
Yeah, it seemed like the whole like the barrier thing wasn't too huge of an issue in like grand finals or finals at Worlds. I think Java the Huts being able to go over the barrier definitely helped them in playing shared as well as Wolfpack. But I feel like at MTI, like it's going to be like even more amplified, like how good you are at going over the barrier and like how versatile you are on the field.
With
Yeah.
any type of competition of this level, right? It's always gonna be those little mistakes, especially with this game, right? It's missing that one cycle, taking an extra 2 seconds to do it or something, really shows in the final scoring for what this could be.
Yep.
Yeah, and speaking of going over the barrier, let's go right into my last top pick of the night, and that's going to be 1843 Wolfpack Machina. Wolfpack was just insane at the World Championship. Even though they ended as finalists of the Franklin division, they had a very good performance. And we all have to remember this is a second-year team. They didn't even have their first official match until this year, right? So having this type of performance as essentially their rookie year is just crazy. And their robot is just ticks all the boxes. They're duck cycling. I think them and Enigma Riddlers, but Enigma Riddlers really didn't do duck cycling, but Wolfpack has really set the standard for how to do duck cycling. Them and another team we'll talk about tonight. But I can't wait to see what they have. I know we've seen some screenshots and videos in the Discord, or just screenshots of a differential swerve drive that they've been working on. So it'll be interesting to see if they bring that to MTI, if it's part of a new robot or something else they're working on, or just an off-season project.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they work it out, and I really hope that you can use more of that duck cycling that they started, like scoring the ducks during endgame, because I
Mhm.
noticed they haven't been able to do it much at Worlds. All right, and my last pick for the night was not at the World Champions this year. This team is going to be 12599 Overcharged Robotics from Oregon. They're an absolute powerhouse at Oregon State Championships, and we know they're regular at MTI. So any defense or driving strategies that they have will not be an issue for them. From what we heard, they only made slight modifications from the robot, but if we learned anything from the regular season, is that if it ain't broke, it ain't fixed.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
12599 spot is very reminiscent of the winning lines captain at Worlds this year. And 17713 Delta Force, I can't even imagine if these teams were what the alliance would be like together.
Yeah, I mean, like Overcharge was just crazy at the Oregon State Championship. Really unfortunate they didn't make Worlds, but Oregon definitely had a good showing at the World Championship. Regardless, I think we're going to be talking about them tonight in one of the top matches, so we'll definitely bring them up again. But again, this is another like 7-1 team, and with matches being so close at MTI, when we go over our top matches, we'll see like the predicted scores based on OPR, and you'll see like all of the matches are just within a couple points of each other for most cases, and you never really know like which way it's going to tip.
Yeah, and it will be exciting to showcase some of those matches as well too. Just coming in from chat, by the way, of course, let us know any teams that you felt could have been locks that we didn't cover. A couple from chat, 18253, which I think is Beach Bots, if I remember that correctly, and 14496, couple teams mentioned as well. But let us know in chat who you got your eyes on as well as we move into our dark horse prediction teams. So dark horse teams are teams that they're not that instant lock. They might not even be what people think of as like being like a first round pick or something like that, but they have a lot of potential for things to either really well round out an alliance where they're going to win that route, or maybe they'll surprise people and get a higher end seed for that. So let's talk about a couple teams each for who you got. So Abbas, start us out. Who's your first team?
Yeah, one thing I think that's important in a dark horse team is thinking about teams that like have rebuilt or changed things about their robot significantly since the last time they competed. And for me, my number one dark horse team would be a team that's been pretty public with their rebuilds for MTI, and that's going to be Team 16379, the Kooky Bots from Sammamish, Washington. Their robot in the regular season was definitely very excellent, and it seems like they've just taken all of the knowledge they have from that and made it better. The video we have on screen right now is their MTI submission with their old robot, but their new robot has a turret slide design, six-wheel drive, super robust, really compact. I think it's just going to be a powerhouse on the field, and I'm sure they don't plan on losing any pushing battles. I would really like to not be the team being pushed by them.
Yeah. For my first dark horse pick, I picked none other than Team 7105 Swift Intergalactic Space Llamas from Vass, North Carolina. I think Swift is a huge sleeper team because they've just had a lot of time to prepare this year, and we know that they are always built very consistently and have very high scoring robots. Probably my favorite part of the robot is their shared hub scoring mechanism. The freight chute seems like it's very consistent and a quick way to score that freight that combined with their 6-inch mechanism and fast intake would make them a huge threat on the shared hub. I wonder how this team will do against defense, which might restrict their scores in the freight, autonomous, and warehouse cycles.
Yeah, I think Swift is like a super good team. Really fits the dark horse definition. I don't even know if we brought them up on Fun this year, maybe in some North Carolina recaps and things like that. But we really haven't seen a lot from them this year. But it seems like they have a really good robot, and I think their OPR and match predictor could be a little off. I feel like they'll be really good on just any alliance or any match they play in. Yeah. So on to my next dark horse pick. This is going to be another team that didn't get to Worlds this year, and I was so sad that I couldn't see them at the World Championship. And I'm talking about Team 2700 Snap. They just have a one of a kind bot this year, right? Like if I were asked to describe Snap, like I couldn't really compare it to any other team's robot. I think just all of the mechanisms, right? The cycloidal gearbox, the duck scoring mechanism, the multiple degrees of freedoms in their arm, and the rocker drivetrain. Everything is just so unique, and they've just done such an excellent job with the entire bot. And even though it is a mechanically complex robot, they have performed pretty well or very well this season. They were the first team selected on the winning alliance at the Central Texas Championship, missing out on the world slot just by one or two slots. And I think they're going to perform super, super well at MTI. Saho, any thoughts about this team?
Well, real quick, I think one of the interesting things to bring up with too is I think there's only about a dozen teams that actually went the Worlds that are going to MTI this year, right? And I don't think that's indicative of the team quality of MTI. I think that's just indicative of how Champs qualification is for things. But it is very interesting to see that disparity between an event that prides itself on high quality robots for things versus what championships either is or has become, or however you want to view something like that as well too. So very, very interesting to see that.
Yeah, I really love their arm design because I remember at the beginning of the season, one of my sister teams actually tried to like implicate this design, but they were like having so much trouble in like all the programming and just like the management of it. And then they had to like drop that idea. But like Snap, they actually really were able to pull it off, which is really awesome.
I personally can't wait to see their cycloidal gearbox. Like, it seems like a really really effective way to get like a super high gear ratio while being compact at the same time, and it's just like what you need for a robot that's this good. So what's your last dark horse pick, Saho?
For my last dark horse pick, it's none other than the North Carolina favorite, Team 5064, Aperture Science. They've been at another MTI that they've been another MTI team that comes from performance year after year. And although we didn't see them at World Championships this year, it's about very similar to that of Upper Creek, and I can see them doing really well. What are your thoughts on this, Abbas?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said. They are definitely similar to Upper Creek, skinny turret with the intake on the turret. I don't think they have the extension that Upper Creek does, but who knows? They've had time. Maybe they've changed that. But they do have the suspension system. And Aperture Science, playing with them last year at MTI, their driving is just so versatile, so efficient. I'm sure, they ranked 1 in qualifications last year.
Yeah.
I could see them, after spending some time this season really tuning everything, doing that well or at a similar caliber this year.
Well, some great picks, of course, chat. Let us know any other dark horses. Maybe we don't have our radar on that. We'd like to see a bit more. Of course, let us know either live or in the YouTube comments for that as well, too. So we're going to hop into the match schedule in just a second. But before we go into our featured matches and the match schedule, let's take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors of the show, the Milwaukee School of Engineering. We can learn a little bit more about their school, which is a great school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and some of their summer STEM camps, should you be interested. Well, let's start to hop into the match schedule. Thanks a lot to MSV for their support of First Updates Now, by the way. And before we release it, we have a few matches that Sahil and Labasa picked out as being some kind of really must-watch matches for MTI. Of course, there's going to be so many great ones coming through, but guys, you picked out 5 of them. Let's hop into them. We're going to show who's playing in these matches, where the Predictor shows for it, and then give us a little bit more detail of what's going on with this match.
Yeah, let's get started with our top 5 match picks. Remember, with this many good teams coming to MTI, it's really difficult to just choose top 4 teams, top 4 dark horses. There are a lot more teams that we want to talk about, and that's why we chose these specific matches. So my first match is going to be Qualification 15. This features the likes of Team Titanium Talons, Fata Morgana, Roboctify, and Snap. All of these robots have been on winning alliances at some point or the other this year. I know Titanium Talons had the world record I think all the way until the World Championship with technical difficulties, but it definitely was like an alliance record, right? Like both robots were needed in order to set that record, and Titanium Talons, like they've just been continually working on their robot. I'm sure they'll be super good. Fata Morgana, that's the robot that's shown here. It's a robot from Israel, and they had a super consistent driving. Seems like very similar to Delta Force, but right, like Delta Force did something right. It seems like they're also doing something right. I can't wait to see how they do. And as well with the other two teams, we've already talked about Snap enough, but Roboctopi did very well with Clueless this year in San Diego at the Champs. And I'm sure this match is going to be super, super close. Right now, while adding the OPRs, we have it predicted to be 275 to 293.2. But, 12, 15 points here or there can easily be flipped. So, Sahil, anything to add?
Yeah, like definitely all four of those teams, once they're paired up with another team that they can partner up really well, they can easily score a lot of points from what they have with their robot performance.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up in qualification match 40, we have team 2700 Snap with 6165 MSET Cuttlefish on the red lines. Both very powerful teams. MSET Cuttlefish qualified to Worlds and competed in the Jemison Division semifinals. They have great driving skills and able to traverse the barriers from any direction, allowing them to score effectively on either the shared or line shipping hub. Combined with this team, Snap, I feel like they can easily deposit all those ducks and score for endgame. And when you combine all autonomous, teleop, and endgame, that can give you a lot of points to rack up.
Yeah, no, I think that's some great points. And over on the Blue Alliance, we've chosen these matches because they're good, not only on one alliance, but both. I think Swift and their alliance partner, I believe N1 is the name, they'll both be very good robots. Both being from North Carolina, they know how each other play, they'll interact with each other well. I think it's going to be an exciting match. And before we go into our next match, I just want to say I'm pretty excited to show what I think is like one of the first videos or leaks of BeachBots' robot, their new robot for MTI. So let's go ahead and take a look at qualification number 62. This match to me seems like a finals match with the likes of 71, 72 technical difficulties, Roboctopi, BeachBots, and Overcharge all in one match. It's insane. Like I'm so excited to see how this match goes at MTI, and I could definitely see all of these teams being on a finals alliance. Yeah, I'm sure if all of the teams spend time making sure everything's super consistent, super fast, this could easily be 350 points from both alliances.
Yeah, I feel like they have like the design of kind of like brainstormers a little bit, I would say.
Hmm.
And like their design, if really tuned well, it can pretty much like go over the field, score as many cycles as it possibly can.
Yeah, and we definitely can't forget the fact that BeachBots was the winning alliance captain of MTI last year. They know what it takes to do well in qualifications and playoffs, and I'm sure they'll be bringing a lot of that driver strategy, driving skills back to the competition and with a better robot. And you said it's very similar to Brainstormers' robot, and the more I look at it, I like can't help but agree with you. I think they like the slide system definitely reminiscent. I'm sure they've made some changes, and we can see that they have a six-wheel drive, and we know again that they have a ton of experience with six-wheel drives. So I'm sure this one is very, very strong as well.
Yep. Another match to look out for is qualification match 70. In this match, we have Team Delta Force on the Red Alliance up against Don't Blink. We haven't seen this match really at Worlds since both of them were on opposite divisions, but seeing this happen at MTI could be like a really game changer because both robots are very fast, very well tuned, and it'll be interesting seeing how they score on the field.
Yeah, I could be wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure this was the highest predicted match we had. 407 points. That is definitely a ton of points. I'm sure it's right under the world record for qualifiers, which is 400 and, or sorry, not right under the world record for qualifiers, but right under the whole world record at 410 points. But I think Delta Force with AlphaGo is just going to be crazy. I'm kind of interested to see which one of them takes the shared hub because both are really good at the alliance hub, but I think they'll just end up filling it up if they try doing it together, they would end up filling it up like halfway through the match or like 2/3 of the way through the match. And I think the other alliance is definitely something we should mention as well. Don't blink, division finalist in the Jemison division this year at Worlds, super super strong showing, and I'm sure they'll just be even better at MTI.
That brings up a
Yeah.
question that was in chat. Is the world record going to be beaten at MTI? What do you guys think?
I
If
feel
it
like
was
there's
going to be beaten,
potential.
I would
Yeah,
see
go
it
ahead.
in one of the qualification matches we're talking about now. Either this one, or one of these top five qualification matches. Maybe there's a couple others. I don't see it being broken in playoffs though. Just like knowing how MTI was last year and seeing how many similar teams are coming back this year, I think there'll just be like too much defense and stuff trying to go on in playoffs.
I do want to say
Yeah.
on here, Abbas, you mentioned highest score wise. That is the highest for the Red Alliance that's predicted on there. However, we did some recalculations this morning and stuff. There actually is a Blue Alliance match that is predicted on OPR wise to do 429. So it'll be very interesting to see. And that's match number 3. So when we release the schedule here in just a minute, you'll have to check out who's all in that match as well, too.
Yeah. Okay, so on to our last top 5 match pick. This is qualification number 74. This features one of the teams that's predicted to go undefeated, Team 71-72 technical difficulties, along with Team 61-65 MSET Cuttlefish. And on the other alliance are 2, I would say, dark horse teams, 7303 Robo Avatars and 479 Stewie Fusion. On the Red Alliance, we've talked about these teams a ton. So let's talk about the Blue Alliance a little bit. Robo Avatars, they had a super, super interesting robot going into the NorCal championship. Unfortunately, their carbon fiber rod snapped or got loose, but, it flew across the field. And that definitely hampered their scores a little bit. Hopefully they fix those things for MTI, and I'm sure they'll have a much more consistent robot. And remember, they were the second pick they were on the winning alliance at MTI last year, so they have the experience and the knowledge to do like what it takes to perform well in qualifications and playoffs. Stewie Fusion, this is another team I don't think we've talked a lot about, but looking at their match video, we can see they're very similar to Brainstormers, Technical Difficulties, all these side output teams, which I think is going to result in a super high scoring match as long as there's no defense played on them and, they're not interfered with. If they're just given the chance to do what they can do on the field, I'm sure it's going to be a tight match.
Is this the same, those two teams, are they the same ones as the 694 FRC team?
I'm not really familiar with them. So
okay, if
I'm
it is,
sure.
it would be Sty then. So it's Sty Pulse, like High Pulse.
Okay.
Is always
Okay,
because people always do mispronounce that name. So it'd be like Sty Fusion, Sty Fission, unless you're intentionally trolling a boss. I'm not sure.
No,
all right.
no trolling here. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So with that said, let's get into the match schedule and release that. We're gonna release a link for that. Now, the couple things to talk about real quick on the match schedule as we do that is that the match schedule that we're releasing is an unofficial one. It's just it's from what has been provided by MTI, but MTI provided like a PDF, so I actually took that and put it into a spreadsheet. So MTI will be sending out a PDF with this as well too, but I just want to make that really clear that this is technically not from them. So we just posted it in chat. It also has our predictors in it if you're interested in checking that out. Once again, just based on OPR, take that how you will for things, but a little bit extra fun with it. Lastly on here from MTI with this is that if this schedule is what is planned on going with, so if a team doesn't show up for whatever reason, travel issues, things just don't go right, the schedule is planning on staying on what the schedule is, and they will find a surrogate team to fill in should there be any blanks on that. So enjoy the schedule that's coming out, and we'll be talking about some final predictions here in just a moment as we wrap up with that. So if for some reason that link doesn't work out, we'll make sure that gets accessible. So please start sharing that. That'd be fantastic. Like I said, MTI will be sending out an official one via PDF. I'm sure it'll be on their website as well too. But before we get into the final predictions, we'll talk about who we think is going to take MTI and what the alliances are going to look like. Let's thank our second sponsor show, Striker and Striker Careers. Hey, if you're looking for an internship, apprenticeship, or your first career coming in the fall, take a look at Striker. Here's a little bit more about their company culture.
I love working for Striker.
I'm genuinely excited to come to work every day.
The minute you walk through that door, you know you are part of something special.
We support each other and look out for each other.
I love Striker because we are like a family.
At Striker, I own my career.
There are so many different places Striker can take me in the next 5 years.
Noi crediamo che quello che facciamo è molto importante.
Together,
With our
Customers.
We are driven
To make
healthcare better.
Great people with a strong mission and values can accomplish great things together.
And thanks again to Striker and Striker Careers for the continued support of First Updates Now. Keep us alive, live, and independent. We really do appreciate that. So final predictions as we get ready for MTI. By the way, we'll be releasing a hype video, I believe, on Wednesday. So teams, we ask that if you didn't submit yours already, we're just looking for a few seconds of your robot. So please submit that by tonight. Check your emails from MTI for that. But Abbas, let's go into final predictions. Who's going to win it? What are you looking for at MTI? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I think something that's important to remember when thinking of the winning alliance is it's not just going to be first, second, and third teams, right? That's not how MTI works, or even just normal season works. And especially with MTI with the snake draft, you really have to consider who's going to be in that 10 to 12 seeded teams, or that rank of teams, because with the snake draft, your first alliance is not going to get the 8th pick anymore, the 9th pick anymore. So I would say I see technical difficulties doing very well. Having seen their match schedule, I think they have good partners. They have the potential to do really well. We also predicted them to be 8-0. Kooky Bots, I think, would make an excellent partner for them. As we mentioned before, dark horse team, super small. One thing that I'm personally worried about is just consistency issues with them, because they haven't had a real competition yet to make sure everything works, deal with just those random competition day things that happen. But if they can get all those worked out, I think they would make a great alliance partner. And then kind of a robot that's on the opposite end size-wise to Kooky Bots would be MSET Cuttlefish. I think they are going to be just a powerhouse team that's going to be needed in order to compete with the defense that's going to be in playoffs. And other teams going to MTI will be really high ranked. So it's about choosing a team that's that's going to be in that middle 8th through 12th pack. So yeah, I think that just makes a good overall alliance of defensive, offensive, big and small pairings.
Yeah, so I had something similar. I was gonna say MSET technical difficulties, but as third pick, I was thinking either Snap or Wolfpack Machina, because they both are able to do that end game cycling for the Ducks. And since I haven't really seen much defense in terms of that, so during end game when they're scoring that, they can easily score that without having any problems of interfering with other robots or having to worry about that, as everyone's focusing on their own end game tasks. And for MSET, once again, a really good powerhouse when it comes to defense. So I can see them playing how last year's MTI, where beach bots were just going around pushing and making sure everyone wasn't able to score. They could easily do that as well.
Yeah, no, I think you brought up a really, really good point, Sahil. The whole duck cycling is going to be huge. I mean, theoretically, you can get 60 extra points from duck cycling. I think realistically, it's more around 30 to 42 points that you can get on a really good match. But with Snap and Wolfpack practicing just hour after hour with those duck cycles, I can't wait to see how those turn matches around.
Yep.
Well, we look forward to MTI this Saturday and Sunday, of course, broadcasts at twitch.tv/First Updates Now, or if you're hopefully watching live, that's where it is. But of course, on YouTube, make sure you check us out on the Twitch channel for that. Abbas and I will be there as well, too. We'll be doing a lot of filming with teams during the event. And then on Sunday during playoffs, we'll be doing some additional match breakdown, match analysis, instant replay, all that fun stuff that goes into some of that downtime that we have to make sure it's a great, entertaining experience for you. We'll be at the Johns Hopkins Arena, that if you watch MTI a few years ago, that's where it was. We have some cool adjustments made, especially with cameras and that sort of thing too, that we're looking forward to doing. So we can't wait to have more with that. But of course, make sure you tune in all weekend for MTI. Sahil and Abbas, thank you so much for coming on, and let's wrap up the show.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for all the follows and subscriptions we received today. Don't forget that you can subscribe for free through Twitch Gaming. We hope you enjoyed this episode of FTC Recap. If you want to stay connected with what First Updates Now FTC is doing, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all with the handle @FunFTC, and join our Discord through the link in the chat.
Hey, on behalf of myself, Sahil Abbas, we really appreciate you tuning in. Talk more about MTI. We're excited. We hope you are as well. So we'll see you this Saturday and Sunday right here on First Updates Now. Talk to you then. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks to Stryker Careers for their support in this video. Stryker's commitment to medical device technology innovation has made it a top career destination for those in First. First alumni and mentors are given top priority in their internship and career applications. Come create the next medical innovation that saves lives at careers.stryker.com. First Updates Now is supported by the Milwaukee School of Engineering, MSOE offers week-long summer camps where high school students get to preview college by living on campus, exploring engineering programs, experimenting in labs, meeting with professors, and participating in fun group activities. Are you ready to experience STEM at MSOE? Visit msoe.edu/summer to learn more and register. Thanks for watching. If you want to join us for future fun streams, be sure to click the follow button and turn on the notification bell to know when we're live. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. View archives and unique content at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.